Good morning, everyone. This is Leah Dixon in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I'm coming to you this morning with my regular Tuesday morning live. Today I'm going to be creating with the Buffalo Check stamp set, and we're going to be creating some fun Christmas cards. Good morning, Marika. Well, almost afternoon, I guess, for you, Marika. Good morning, Danielle. So super excited. It's a gorgeous sunny day here in Port Coquitlam. I've got all the stuff ready to go make stew after this video, and it's going to be quite a nice day here. Kind of feeling back in my groove as well with Stampin, and things at school have settled down. And yeah, do I want to add graphics to my live video? Oh, not today. Thanks. Wow. All right. There's always something new on Facebook. It's always a little bit of a challenge to get on live. Oh, good morning, Joanne. I know I love the Buffalo Check, and I was looking at some artisan stuff. I showed you guys that card yesterday from the artisan design team, and it got me like all jazzed up again about the Buffalo Check. So this week I am going to be creating like crazy with it, and kind of good because I realize I need to mail out like 400 Christmas cards, and I only have about 250 in my stash, so I'm going to be doing some creating this week. So much fun. All right, so I'm going to switch you guys over. Well, I'm going to try to switch you guys over to my other screen so we can get stamping. Oh. And there we go. I always forget to turn that off. Sorry, guys. So I think, yeah, there we go. I've switched over to my new screen, and I'm just going to make sure that I can still get your messages coming up. I know, Marika. And I know to turn it off, and I always forget. All right, so here we go. We've got the Buffalo Check, and then I am going to be using the In the Pine stamp set as well. You really don't need this one for the card I'm going to be making today. What you do need is just a nice little sentiment, and then I'm using one set of the trees to decorate the inside of my card and my envelope. But really, we're focusing on this beauty, the Buffalo Check. So, good morning, Eileen. I have to tell you, you never want to work with this Buffalo Check without a Stamparatus. So I have already mounted mine to my Stamparatus. So if you do not have a Stamparatus, this is the best $60, $65 you will ever spend. It is great if you're stamping with older people who have trouble keeping a steady hand. It's great if you're like me and don't have a steady hand in the morning. Let's see if I can move this up so it's going to actually be in your screen. There we go. And it's great for working with larger background stamps, especially ones that we're going to want to ink more than one time. So what I've done here is this actually was not one of our cling stamp sets, and I do have the adhesive sheets, and I keep meaning to make you guys a video on how to use those. But what I've actually done here is I've used snail or seal and use that to attach it to my board. So what I did is I laid it down on, this is just my Stamparatus. Let's pull this all apart. So it's my Stamparatus. I put in a piece of paper. You can buy the paper packs that go with this. Oh, you haven't used it, Eileen. Oh, you're going to love it. So I just put in one of the pieces of paper that you can get. If you don't have the paper, it's all good because that board at the bottom can be cleaned. I'm lazy. I don't like to clean. Now I'm going to hold this down with my magnet, but I'm going to kind of push it up out of my way. Oh, why don't you want to stay out of my way? Get out there. All right, has a mind of its own today. And then what I did is I actually laid my stamp face down onto my surface. I don't like that. Why is that moving? Magnets sometimes, there we go. I turned it the other way. Sometimes with their polarity, you got to kind of play with them. So that's down. I placed my stamp down, then I closed my Stamparatus on top of my stamp so that it would adhere to my top sheet, and now I am ready to go. So I have a beautiful card designed, but I actually am wondering about what color to use. So I'm going to let you guys leave comments while I give you a few other tips. So I have, oh, what is that one? That is Petal Pink. No, Blushing Bride. Blushing Bride as an option. Real Red as an option. That's what I originally had decided to design in. Coastal Cabana. We're not going to do magenta. That'll be beautiful, but not for this card. Pretty Peacock or Old Olive. And so I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek of the card itself, and then you guys can type into the comments and let me know which color you would like to see this in. So here it is in red with the black check. And so it's just a simple Christmas tree. And I'm thinking about playing around with different color schemes and trying out something different. I do love it in the red and black, so I do have red as an option. But we've also got the green Coastal Cabana, Pretty Peacock, or the Blushing Bride. So you guys let me know in the comments what you would like to see, and then we will get started creating. I think my comments are coming through. All right, I'll give you guys a moment. While you guys are putting in your vote for one of these colors, I'll just let you know that I do, I'm going to be sending out my newsletter today. So if you haven't signed up yet to receive my newsletter, you can do that on the sidebar of my Facebook page. And if you do that before I get my newsletter done, you'll get in on the mailing of this one. And I have some upcoming classes that are going to be announced in there. And if you've been watching my Facebook page late at night, they've shown up there as I've created the events. Okay, so we've got 2 votes for Pretty Peacock and 1 for the red. And so I have for December 27th a birthday card class where we're going to be using the Happiest of Birthdays stamp set. And then, so excited about this one, I am going to be trying an online bingo. So I've just done some training on how to do these and make it like an incredible event. And how to maximize prizes and stuff like that. So on December 30th, I'm holding a nearly New Year's, because nobody wants to stamp with me on New Year's Eve. Go be with your loved ones. So on December 30th at 7 p.m., I'm going to hold a nearly New Year's Eve bingo. And I am super excited. Door prizes for the bingo. We'll do 6 rounds of bingo, create 4 cards. They're going to be created using the press-on stamp set. That's those cute little coffee cups in the Christmas catalog, but don't worry, they won't be Christmas cards. And all of the prizes are going to be from the new January to June catalog. And I know you're like, but it's December. How are you going to do that? Well, I have the opportunity as a demonstrator to do a pre-order, and so I will be pre-ordering prizes, stamp sets, possibly, depending on how many people join our event. The more people who join, the more prizes I can get. So that's the exciting part. Some gorgeous embellishments. Oh my goodness, you guys are just going to lose your minds when you see them. So excited for that. And that's a $50 cost. And then there's like some add-ons. You can buy yourself extra bingo tickets and stuff like that. It's all in the advertisement. All right. So I have a few people who have weighed in. Marika's excited about bingo, but you haven't given me a color. So I'm going to go with Pretty Peacock, because that is what I saw more votes for. So this card, I mean, you can really do it in any color, and really you can do it with any cutout. I'm going to tell you guys, I've done this card before. I have done it with maple leaves. I have done it with a reindeer. I've done it with all sorts of things. So the Pretty Peacock paper that we're going to use is cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it's literally a quarter sheet of cardstock. The reason for that is because I can trim it down afterwards, but I want it to be big enough that I'm not wasting any of my precious stamping time, because I do have to do 3 layers with this. So what I did here is I just put a mini glue dot on the back. This is a full background stamp. I can't use a magnet to hold my paper down like I would like to do. And actually, I'm going to put 2 on here just to really hold it steady. Because we don't want this sliding on us, because I will tell you now, we will be stamping this at least 3 times. Okay, so there we go. I've got mini glue dots holding my paper in place so that this magnet can hold my base paper in place, but it's not going to get in the way of my stamping. Now I'm going to grab my Memento ink. I have just re-inked this, so it's nice and juicy, and I am going to rub it across my whole stamp first. Okay, get the whole thing covered, and then, oh, sorry guys, one more trick to this, so that you get a nice firm push down for inking this. Put your stamp case underneath. Okay, stamp case underneath here is going to give you a surface to push down on, so that you're able to get a good inking of this image. And this works for any and all background stamps, just this one, because it has like the solid blocks, makes it even more important. All right, so that's nice and juicy and all inked up. And then we're going to flip it over. And for this part, I even like to stand up to really push down on here. Okay, and then we're going to pull that off. And you can see, I mean, it's inked nice. You could use that, but the squares aren't as dark as I would like them. So I'm going to come back in, re-ink this. Re-ink, here we go. And so, like, you could even, like, I could even probably re-ink my Memento. Maybe I've used it way too much today. I have been stamping and stamping and stamping. Like, lost the desire to sleep. I just want to stamp now. All right, and in we go again. And so because we're using the Stamparatus and we've locked everything down with magnets and glue dots and everything, nothing's moving on us. We're getting an exact re-stamp. Oh, don't drop your ink pad. Oh, So I'm just going to grab my chamois here. So the chamois is great. It won't actually remove the stains from my hand, but it will mean that I'm not leaving big black streaks everywhere. All right, there we go. Don't drop your stamp on your ink pad, rather, on your image. That's a bad idea. All right, so here we go. A third inking of this should do the trick. We might have to throw in a 4th here. And so you definitely want juicy, juicy, juicy ink pads when you're doing this. And here we go. And there. So that's a lot better. I am actually going to do it. I'm going to re-ink my pad and do it one more time because I'm just a little bit fussy about that. So I've just got my black Memento. Just going to come in here, squirt that on, let that sit for a moment. And now I'm ready to come in here and re-ink that one more time. All right. So it's not a fast process, but it's also not a hard one. So, you know, throw on some nice music, throw on a TV show, and do your stamping. All right. So that should be our last go. Beautiful. Okay, so now that we've got that done, I'm going to carefully peel this off, and I'm going to make sure that when I peel that off, I don't bend my paper, but also that I come back in and that I remove those glue dots, because otherwise they're going to create a bump the next time I try to stamp another paper on here, which I will. I'm going to be doing a lot of stamping of this buffalo plaid today. So reset all of that, and then I can just close that and I can store it off to the side, nice and easy, so nothing's gonna get inky. And sometimes I even store mine with those big ones in there, Oh, I'm so glad you got some ideas here, Janice. Yeah, you know what? Without the Stamparatus, inking this one up would be a nightmare. Just really not going to recommend it to anyone. All right, so now that we have our beautiful piece here, this is actually going to make 2 cards for me. So kind of, yes, I put a little bit of work into it, but now I'm going to reap the benefits of that. I am actually now going to trim this up, and let's make sure I do it the right way. So let's see, this one was 5 1/2. So 5 1/2 is 2 3/4. So I'm going to cut it at 2 3/4, and I'm going to get 2 cards out of this. Okay, that's why I always do the full size, because then I can trim it down to whatever I want, and I've done the work once instead of doing it twice for 2 little bits. All right, so now I'm actually not going to put that too far away, because we have a little bit more trimming to do, I think. All right, I don't need those white pieces. I do need a black base. I'm going to come in with a pretty peacock base, and this is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And then I've got another black piece, and this, I will double check the sizing on that. Is, yeah, okay, good. I was right. I was going to be right, but good. I'm glad I checked. So that's 3 by 4 1/4. And then we have a piece of Whisper White that's just a tiny, just a smidge smaller than that. 1/8 of an inch smaller, to be exact. And then we're just going to take one of these, and let's see. Yeah, so it's going to be just a little too tall, and so we'll trim that up, and I'm going to put this one off to the side for use on another card. So that's what I thought, because I need my trimmer here, because I need to just make this a little bit smaller than my piece that's just a little bit less than, so that's a lot less. That's good. That's 1/4 less than what I need. And then I said that was 4 1/4, so let's trim this down to 4. Basically, I just want to be able to hide it behind my white piece. Okay, so these are all of our bits now. Now I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, because I am going to emboss this and cut and emboss this. So we're going to put these pieces to the side to bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Here we go. That's a very close up. Sorry, guys. All right. So step 1 is to grab our base plate, our pretty peacock background, and whatever kind of textured background you would like. I'm personally going to go with the Tasteful Textiles. It's seemingly my favorite folder right now. And so that goes in there. And then I put down my plate number 4. This is my 3D embossing plate. And I'm going to roll that through. So that's just added a little bit of texture to our back layer. There we go, so a little bit of texture there. Then I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to bring in plate number 2 and 3. So this is just for being able to do some standard cutting now. And I'm going to grab one of the trees. It's actually going to be just the outline from the Pine Woods dies. So it's just an outline of the tree. Now this one, it is important that I actually line this up centered on my piece of cardstock. Okay, this is actually going to matter because this is going onto our card front as is. So wherever you punch it is where we're going to, like, it's where it's going to be visible. Okay, so I've got that lined up. We're going to run that through. And, oops, I'm going to save that white tree for something else. I'll be able to emboss that later or do the other die cutting on it because there's the fancy dies, or just stamp on it, whatever. So that's that. And now I get to remove these other plates. I got just plate 1. I have my pine wood planks embossing folder, and I'm going to put my tree in there so that the grain of the wood is in line with my tree. All right, now I am going to kind of look and see. I want that nice little burl and everything to be on my page when I die cut this. So there we go. And then I'm just going to put down one of my plate 3s. These are the old style 3D embossing folders, so the sandwich is just slightly different. There we go. So even though this is the old style, this pattern is still available. So there we have it. All right. I believe that is all of our cut and embossing. So I'm going to move this big machine out of the way. Oh, speaking of big machine, if you are a demo, the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is available for pre-order today. You can even add that onto a starter kit. Smokin' deal, $135, gets you $165 worth of product. No shipping, no taxes here in BC. So if you'd had your eye on that mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, so it's like, I think it's even less than half the size of what I just used. So it's great for little pieces like we were doing today. That is available today for demos and will be available on January 5th for regular customers. All right, so we've got that done. Now, where did I put... Oh my, I've lost our plaid. I do have that other one that I can trim up, but I'd love... Oh, there it is. It fell on the floor when I was embossing. All right, so there's our plaid. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of adhesive around our tree and out to the corners, and then put our plaid on top of it. So the reason I'm doing my adhesive onto my tree is because if I don't do that, it kind of puckers and like pops up. All right, so I had my tear and tape out last night. Oh, I know what happened to it. I used it all up. Huh. That's why I can't find any. All right, here we go. New package of tear and tape. Let's see, put that off to the side. So, love my tear and tape, especially when I'm working with embossed images. Just, I find that the hold is so good. You could also use Seal Plus. That would be fabulous for this. But I have my tear and tape and I love it. So here we go. And then for my 4 corners, I might actually just use mini glue dots because I just need them slightly held down. We don't need to like totally overkill here. All right, so I've got to try and keep up into the camera view. I don't know why my camera's set up the way it is today, where I feel like I need to hold everything far away from my body. It's kind of strange. All right. So I hope it is a gorgeous day wherever you guys are. It's very cold here. It just dropped below 0 last night, which might only be the second time this year it's done that. But man, is it gorgeous. The wind came in yesterday afternoon and nearly blew my class away while we were outside. And it also blew away all of our clouds. So nice. Oh, didn't pick that one up. All right. So, just a bit more adhesive here, guys. Uh-oh. Darn it. So I just tore mine. So I got to be maybe a bit more gentle than I'm being. So that's going to be an easy fix, though, with a piece of tear and tape. And in a very fortunate spot in that I was going to be putting a sentiment down there and kind of covering that up anyways. So, lucky. But I am going to just kind of use some tape to hold that together. Whoops. All right. It's all good. Okay, so now with that done, I'm going to put this over top so I'm fully covering up my plaid and also making sure, like, you know, you don't really want your plaid to be all crooked and whatnot when you see it through your tree. All right, oh yeah, that's going to be fine. Okay, with that done, I'm going to get my favorite glue, which is my liquid glue. And I'm just going to put a little layer on there. Oh, come on. Fabulous. Oh, I'm so glad you guys chose Pretty Peacock. I'm like loving this. I think this, I'm going to like this even more than the red. Such a beautiful color. All right, here we go. So that's glued down. Now, before we do anything else with that, we are going to tie some braided linen trim around this. And so I'm going to do that right down here at the base of my tree. Like I was saying, we're going to be putting some stuff down here so that little tear that we got won't even be visible. So I've got that just wrapped around. I'm going to do a little knot, but I'm not going to double knot it because I find if I do that, then I get like this big lump. So I've just kind of tied it around once, and then I'm going to make my bunny ears. And wrap them around each other. And so now I've got this bow that kind of is running sideways, which I'm okay with. I kind of like it for the layout of this card because I'm going to have a sentiment right beside it. So this way the ends of my ribbon aren't going to be covering up my sentiment. All right, so finish with that until I get it how I like it. Trim up my ends. And now with that done, I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of this to put it onto my card front. So here we go. So I'm just going to use, whoops, too many. I'm going to use one in each corner and two kind of center-ish just to pop that up. All right. So here we go. The challenging part, peeling all these backings off. Come on, there we go. All right, and I'm going to center this on my front piece. There we go. All right, now this piece can get glued to our card front. Good morning, Jacqueline. We're just doing some buffalo check plaid background stamp work. So I had created a piece before we cut it in half, so I'll actually be able to make two of this card with one piece of buffalo plaid, buffalo check. All right, now with that glued up, we're going to put this on our card front. There we go. You could use tear and tape or seal for this as well. I'm just, you know, a massive liquid glue fan, so there we have it. All right, so you could leave that card as is and it would be totally fine. You could throw whatever sentiment you wanted on here and it would be beautiful as well. And I'm going to show you how to do that because, of course, I need a ton of Christmas cards, so we're going to get that happening. So I'm going to grab my Pretty Peacock ink. A handy dandy scrap of 1/2-inch paper that I seem to have a bajillion of. I have an entire drawer filled with these. And I'm going to grab the Season's Greetings sentiment from the In the Pines stamp set. All right. Oh, thanks, Jacqueline. So I'm going to ink up my sentiment. And sorry, I'm going to have to move this down a bit so I can see it to line it up. All right, there we go. So I've just stamped that on one of my little 1/2-inch scraps. I know we all have them because when we cut those layers for the front, we end up with them. So I save them and then I do this. So now I'm just going to grab some scissors to trim this. I've got another little piece to save in my drawer and use that on another card. And I am going to grab my favorite punch. Oh, you're right. I never got that Halloween suite. Can you believe it, Jacqueline? I wish I had just for those. I guess it's not too late. I could still grab them. Yeah, no, I didn't. I stayed away from the Halloween stuff this year. I used my gnomes for Halloween cards. All right, so there we go. I've just clipped the ends with the tailored tag punch, my favorite punch. And then I'm going to put 2 dimensionals on here, but I'm going to make sure when I put them on, my second one doesn't go past the ETI in greetings because I don't want it falling off of the top label. So I'm just going to kind of like line it up like that. So that's the furthest over I want that one to go, and then one at the other end. I am using the big ones because I'm putting this over top of the braided linen trim. If this was a wider label, I might try to do 2 mini ones top and bottom above the trim, but this is going right on that trim. And pop that down. And then, yeah, like Jacqueline said, you could grab some embellishments and sprinkle those on here. I'm actually just going to leave it completely plain, kind of more of a masculine card. I've got 3 male cousins who live on their own, so I'm not like trying to impress their girlfriends or anything. Very kind of, you know, live in the interior kind of cousins. So I think these are going to be perfect for them. But I do have one more thing I have to do to this card because I've got a black card base. And I'm not a big fan of writing like silver or white pen, so I always like to put a little piece on the inside. So I'm going to grab some liquid glue and paste this into the inside, and then I am going to decorate it and the envelope because I can. I use that sentiment from the In the Pines stamp set. So why just use the sentiment when you can use some of your images as well? And this is actually where I like the Pretty Peacock even more than the red, because on my red card, I used black ink because it just didn't seem right to put red trees inside. I tried it. Just on a scrap, I tried it. It didn't look right. But these trees, wherever I put them, there they are. These trees that I'm going to have to clean because I left black ink on them are going to look gorgeous in Pretty Peacock. Like, I'm so excited to be able to stamp in Pretty Peacock instead of in black. Here we go. So I'm going to grab those, tap those in. Oops, didn't quite ink that. There we go. And voila. I have that on the inside of my card now, and it's just so beautiful. And then I might even, maybe, just maybe, nope. Maybe I don't. Might have an envelope lying out. I actually have realized I'm very, very short on envelopes. You usually write directly on lighter colors unless you sell the card, then you add the white. Yes, if my card base was a lighter card base, I totally just write on the color. I hear you, Jacqueline. I do like to add the inside white piece if I'm selling the cards because it adds that finishing touch. But on a black card, whether it's for me or somebody else, that white has to go in. So there we go. That is all done. So I can clean that up in a little bit. So there's our envelope and our card using our buffalo plaid. I hope you guys learned a few little tricks there. Let's just see. I'm going to come in and transition. There we go. So I hope you guys learned a few little tricks on how to use that plaid successfully. Oh, it didn't transition. What's going on? Oh, there it did. Okay, awesome. So yeah, that little piece of mini glue dot on the back side of the DSP, or sorry, on the back side of the cardstock to hold it in place on your Stamparatus, using the Stamparatus to stamp multiple times to get that really strong image. And of course, having re-inker on hand so that your stamp pad is very, very juicy when you're doing this. Are 3 things that you can do to have a lot of success with this stamp. It is a very big, very beautiful stamp set, but I understand how frustrating it can be if you can't get it to work the way you want it to. So hope that helps everyone, and you guys have a fabulous day. Go out and enjoy this sunshine if you're here on the West Coast. And yeah, I'll see you guys all next Tuesday, unless you're in my Tag Buffet class, in which case I'll see you on the 5th. I'll be sending out the PDF and everything for that hopefully this afternoon. And yeah, check out my other 2 classes coming up, December 27th for the birthdays class and Nearly New Year's Bingo on the 30th, which I am so excited about. So, bye guys.